Alfa Romeo have been very much in the news recently, and quite right too. The 156 is getting rave reviews, it's taken on the very best that BMW can offer and has sure given it a run for its money. Above that in the range, the 166, which has plenty of fans too, and if you've got loads of money and you only need 2 seats, then spend it on a GTV coupe or the very desirable Spider convertible equivalent. Now with all that stuff going on, I guess a lot of people have forgotten about the baby of the range. Here it is, the 145. There's a booted version with a couple of extra doors too, the 146, essentially the same car. I think the 145 looks pretty indeed, and this one is the Cloverleaf, which means it's got the 2-litre engine, twin spark, too many spark plugs, and it goes like stink. That basically is what Cloverleaf means in Alfa speak. Are they right? Let's find out. Any car with sporting ambitions has got 2 key ingredients. A great engine, okay, full marks there, a tick in the box. This engine is fantastic. Needs to be revved fairly hard to get the best out of it. There's not a lot of torque if you don't rev the thing. But the suspension is the other key component. Now, suspension and ride is always going to be a compromise between how well it holds the road and how comfortable it is. And I think they've actually got the sums a little bit wrong. It's too soft, and that means that it just doesn't hold on quite as well as it might do round the corners and doesn't actually feel like a sports car. It's too soft. It's almost too comfortable. Now, would you actually want to own one? What's for and against? Well, perhaps the big for is the fact that it is a great little package. It's an enjoyable car overall and very, very capable. However, against it is towering depreciation, like virtually all Italian cars in this country suffer from. Also, the fuel economy isn't anything to write home about. It likes a drink, this vehicle. And the JD Power Reliability Survey put this car a rather sad 82nd. Now, everybody that was questioned praised its performance. The whole package, they said, was pretty right. But niggling electrical faults, minor paintwork blemishes and problems, all that kind of stuff that other manufacturers, notably the Germans and, fair play, the Brits, do seem to have sorted out now. The Italians apparently have still got some way to go on that. For my money, this is one very good-looking hatchback car. That grille is a kind of a miniaturized version of the approach of styling that you'll see on the bigger Alfa Romeos. And when we look under the bonnet, well, what do you expect to find? It's not exactly a Morris Minor in there, is it? Beautiful looking Alfa Romeo twin spark engine, writ large. That'll certainly impress the neighbours when you're checking the oil. And by the way, good access for all the things that you need to have access to, like checking the oil and the water, etc. As you move around the car, the big disappointment for me is these alloy wheels. Now, I really think they could have done better. It's like a sort of a 5-hole version of the old XR3i wheels from the days of our youth. This side treatment is nice with the swept up line here in the door, and these doors are huge. That's great for access. It does, however, mean that this B-pillar is a fair way back, and that means a big stretch over your shoulder to get the seat belt. But we have to compromise, I guess. These side windows, just the overall approach of that, I think, is interesting. These open, by the way, for a bit of extra ventilation. But it's when you come round to the back of this vehicle that I think the stylist really has earned his money. With that unusual and quite brave sort of V approach there, the spoiler on the top says, "I mean business," so does the Boy Racer exhaust, and above all, so does the Cloverleaf badge in conjunction with the Alfa Romeo badge. This car says, "I'm not playing around here."